Hey folks, Tryson here from Alpha Kettlebell Fitness with Sarah, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of a component that we use a lot in training live clients and often in the program that we may put out there in the internet world. And that is how to transition from the classic two-hand swing that most people are doing and is a primary component of most people's program. If you've seen the two-hand swing or never tried the two-hand swing, Sarah's going to give us a quick demo, maybe 5 to 10 reps here, just to show you what it looks like. Oftentimes, what is very common is people will underbuy their load for the kettlebell, so they'll end up with a very light load. This is a very light load for Sarah to two-hand swing. If they follow our recommendations, we generally recommend people get 3 kettlebells if you can afford it, but usually the logical next progression when you're purchasing your kettlebells or have kettlebells would be to add, even if you weren't going to get 3, to add another belt of similar size. Gives us the opportunity to do double kettlebell work in the upper body position, but also gives us the opportunity to do some work in regards to swings. Most people don't know where to take this. They get very myopic and load-centric, and they only see load, 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 and add a larger kettlebell, which can be ineffective from the cost standpoint and from a usage standpoint, because we want you to implement using your kettlebells as much as possible. However, if we just add a second kettlebell of similar size and we change the body positioning and the way the body is doing work, it's a very, very simple way and a very easy way for us to get more effect out of that. And what we like to do is do a stagger stance position. So Sarah's just taken her normal stance position, and then she's moved her trail foot so it's in line with her heel, and she's got her back heel off the ground. So we've just destabilized her a little bit. A lot of the times complaint, and again in regards to timing and just a little bit of lack of experience, maybe mobility or flexibility, when people do double kettlebell work, they tend to set up very wide. So go ahead and move out here, just go ahead, and to do their normal kettlebell work. And they can get into situations where the leverage and speed is working against them. But if we bring it back into that normal stance position, we don't jump up to the massive load of kettlebell and go into double kettlebell work from the stagger position. This becomes a unilateral exercise. Obviously, this is great from developing side to side. We can concentrate fully on one side. It's still the hip hinge movement that we're looking at. There's a great demand, just like you would be with doing the other double kettlebell positioning on the upper body still. But what the really cool part is you don't have to worry about that dissipation of force, because we set up in that semi-pseudo sumo stance, and we're going to flex forward. So go ahead and relax there. That's a really, really simple way. Now, some of you may say, well, why wouldn't I want to get a bigger kettlebell? Because you don't necessarily need one, and by opening the playbook, by having the double kettlebell first, 2 of the smaller same size, we can still get the effect. We've got a little bit of testing that we've done where we've compared a 70-pound kettlebell versus 2 12-pound kettlebells, which would be 53 total pounds, and it's giving you the same metabolic effect. And since fat loss and metabolic training is a key component to most people's training systems and training goals, it's just as relevant to have 2 smaller kettlebells as opposed to buying linearly up the dumbbell or kettlebell rack, so to speak, and give you a lot more variability and programmability in your kettlebell training.